Hey guys, so we hopefully I'm recording this before we finished chapter four, but I'm assuming that we do finish chapter four and we are going on to chapter five. So I'm going to record myself reading chapter five. Saved. This is it. So Mrs. Fondle should have given you that worksheet. I'm going to go ahead and start reading. Cody, apologies that you don't get to play Vladik today, but I wanted to make sure that we were able to complete Mouse and you guys didn't have a bunch of homework this weekend because it is graduation for those of you who are attending. And I figure most of you can go ahead and get chapter five worksheet done while I'm reading, and then we'll discuss it a little more on Monday before we start Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. So, chapter five, saved. I like how, like at the beginning here of saved, you have Vladik in the foreground, like popping out at you, and then you have these other prisoners behind him. So it's kind of like he's the present, they're the past. He could even be one of the prisoners as a young man and then himself in present day as an older man. So I thought that was really interesting. So again, just looking at the graphic weight, looking at the iconic symbolism, using the animals. And so let's see what happens to Vladik. Back in Regu Park, late autumn, always I saved. I saved only so I can have a little something for my old age. So now I have my old age, and look what I have. I have a tank with oxygen, and I'm so weak with my heart and my diabetes, I can't live anymore alone. I have so much room. You and Francois can come and, for no rent, live here by me. No, that's totally out of the question. So, how have I to live, Artie? Tell me, to go to a retiring home? It's not for me. Well, why not get a live in nurse? You can afford it. And what will the neighbors say to it if they see a woman living with me? What? So hire a male nurse then, Pop? Yeah, and Mala, you don't know to make money, only to make it disappear. If I give Mala $100,000 over to her name, then she'll live. She'll live again here. This is what you advise me. It's up to you. I only don't know how to arrange myself. Maybe to your room I can come be a tenant to take, and you can take care of me. Well, maybe. Well, come. We have now to carry up my storm windows to put in. I was hoping you could tell me more of your story, though. This we can talk about maybe after, but already I'm cold. I'm losing money to heat with no storm windows. In other years, I put in out the windows that I didn't need help. Look, I'll do it, but first, just tell me a little more about Anya. Okay, so I love that Art refers to his mom as Anya. Like, I wonder what's the deal with that. I don't know if there's like some residual anger with her based on, what happened and how she did commit suicide. Um, I also think it's really interesting that Art has this guilt for surviving, even though Richie didn't. And now Dad is kind of putting additional guilt on him to take care of him, which I think as you get older and your parents get older, there's always this responsibility that you're supposed to take care of them. So this is an interesting dynamic. And it's also interesting because he's like using metafiction, right? He's writing about his writing and having to deal with his father while telling his father's story. Anya, what is to tell? Everywhere I look, I'm seeing Anya. From my good eye, from my glass eye, if they're open or they're closed, always I'm thinking of Anya. I met when you were in Dachau. Where was Anya? I don't know, to different camps. She marched from Auschwitz earlier than me and came also through Gross Rosen. And then I don't remember. But how did Anya survive, though? Manti. The Hungarian girl, what I knew there was in Auschwitz, she kept Anya close by her. After the war, I looked always for Mansi. I'd give a nice reward, but I didn't know even her full name, and I never found. Well, Mom used to mention Ravenbrook. Was Mansi with her there? Yeah, maybe. It was always there. I know only that Anya came out free by the Russian side, and she came back to Sosanik before me. My liberation, it took a little longer. And so we're switching back to history again. So look at this artwork. It's beautiful. It was the last minutes of the war I left Dachau. I went to exchange for German prisoners on the Swiss border, but we never came. I remember we got each a treasure box from the Swiss Red Cross, sardines, biscuits, chocolate. Some ate right away everything. I kept, of course, to have later. So at night, some tried to steal from me. Hey! With my typhus, I needed still much to rest, but this treasure was more for me than sleeping. Everybody out, line up in fives. Here was the end of our ride. We had from here to go by foot to the frontier, and I saw it's nothing everywhere. My hell, it's still life things going on. We march, we stop. For hours we stood. What's going on? They're taking us back to Dachau. No, no, the Americans are coming. It was commotion and rumors, then the shouts. The war is over. It was over. March back to the track, schnell. They didn't leave us go, though, but put us to a freight train. The Americans will be on the next town. They can have you. On this train, no guards came. We were by ourselves. So really, we saw it was finally over now. In a half hour, the train stopped. Hey, the Americans aren't here. Why? Oh, wait, let's go. Some went one way, some went another way. We didn't know where we went. Halt, or we'll shoot. All of a sudden, there were these Werschmidt patrollers. Little by little, they got all of us what were going to be free. We thought we were free, maybe 150 or 200 people, and they put us in the woods by this big lake. I didn't understand what was going on, but I was again here in German hands. They guarded so we couldn't get away. They're marching, they have machine guns set up all around us. We overheard they intended to murder every one of us tonight, right in this spot. In the later afternoon, I went over to close to the edge of the water. Vladek Spiegelman, is that you? Schleck, you're alive. Schleck was one before the war, a friend from Bedsden near Sosanik. We survived everything just to get shot after the end of the war. I still have a little coffee I organized. Let's make a last cup. Look, get him! Splash. One older guy, he was maybe 50. He jumped into the lake and it was a far swim. Bang, bang. He made it. Do you have the strength to try? Just stay near the water. We can always try it when the real shooting starts. So it came in the night. Look how beautiful that is. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine like being in this beautiful place with complete dread? They were just waiting to be killed. And the way Art paints this with like the way he draws it with the graphic weight is just amazing. So it came night. We were terribly frightened. We sat and we waited. There was crying and there was praying. So long we survived. And now we waited only that they would shoot because we had nothing else to do. In the early morning, we were still alive. They're gone. It was a miracle. There's not one German left, just their guns. What happened? I was lying near the head officer's tent. His girlfriend was arguing with them. She begged him to let us go. She warned him he'd be punished. The war is over, she cried. Let's just run away. She saved us. So we went one way, some went another way. Maybe we can get some food at one of these farms. Halt! Ooh, I love that foreground again. That's really cool. On the road was another patrol. They were also catching Jews. So we had again the same story. They found 40 or so of us and closed us into a big barn. We heard all night shooting in the mountains around. Pop, pop, pop. Our guards, they all ran away. So this another morning, we were still again alive. What a mind trip. Survive Auschwitz. Be marched back towards Germany. Find out the war is over. Be captured by the Nazis. Told you we're going to be shot at the lake. Wake up, you're not shot, they're gone. start to leave, get caught again, put in a barn, thought you were going to die. They leave again and you're alive. So this next morning, we were still alive again. Come, Schweck, let's find a bunker until things quiet down. We came by a garage, so I went over. Please, sir, we need a place to hide till the Americans get here. Go away, I don't want to be involved. Please have pity, it's just for a day or two. Well, there's a pit in the back, it's none of my business if you want to lie in there. Over a day we lied in that pit. Then 2 Westmen came. Hey, which way which way is Innsbruck? That way, officer. But wait, 2 Jews are back there hiding in a pit. I cannot believe this guy told on them. They were in so big a hurry to run, they didn't even look for us, though. So he tells these Germans that Vladik and his friend are hiding in the pit, but the Germans are in such a hurry to get out of there, they don't even check. Let's go, Schweck. Let's find a safer spot. We passed a few houses and peeked inside. Look, nobody seems to be home in here. A part of this house, it was a barn. We can hide up here under the hay. From the walls, we heard shouting. Schnell, Elsa, pack what you can. Hurry. This may become a battlefield any minute. Villagers are running away. Fine, the further the better. Kaboom! The far side from our barn fell down a little. My God, what happened? The Wurzmat is retreating, and they blew up the bridge to seal their trail. It means we're free. Let's look around. It's safe now. I'm not going anywhere. I went myself to the empty house. Milk! Slurp, slurp, slurp. I drank so long, I don't know when I stopped. I told you it's safe. I got you some milk. Milk? So we both drank too much milk and we looked around. Chickens! He was a farm boy, Schweck. He killed each day a chicken and milked us a cow. I used to dream about chickens. Schweck! Look, I found clothes upstairs. We can throw ours away and our stripes. There, I'm starting to feel like a human again. Me too, except I'm getting nauseous. Our stomachs got a shock to eat milk and chickens. We got very sick with diarrhea. We lay a few days in bad shape until the Americans came. Hands up, identify yourselves. I told everything how we survived here. And from Dachau, we came by train and to all, bang, bang. It's just my men signaling they found a cache of German ammo. Those Krauts can't hurt you anymore. The only ones left are dead or dying. This house will be part of our base camp. But I guess you boys can keep can stay if you keep the joint clean and make our beds for us. You want some chocolate? Maybe later. Thank you. So we worked for the Americans and they liked me that I can speak English. Thanks for the shine, Willie. It's okay, Sergeant. Don't even mention it. They gave us food, cans, and gifts, and they called me Willie. You were living on a farm with some GIs? Yeah, with my friend Schleck. So then what happened? I think it's interesting the way the Americans are portrayed in this. Obviously, dogs, man's best friend, friendly. But dogs are oftentimes seen as a little more dumb, ignorant, do-gooder types. I think that's interesting that art uses like this iconic symbolism and makes Americans dogs. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think he's saying positive things, but I think there's also a little bit of a negative connotation in terms of the smarts. So I wonder if that was his intention. But it's interesting. So it came in order. Headquarters is setting up a displaced persons camp. You'll have to move there. We all came over to the Garmisch-Partenkirchen. I'm sorry, Mrs. Fondel, you speak German, and I am butchering some of these words. Name? Vladik Spiegelman. Country of origin? Poland. Here we got identity papers and a place where to stay. Hey, Vladik, come with me to Hanover to see my brother. He's married to a Gentile who kept him hidden. Oh, what's wrong? I don't know, Schleck. I've got a fever and I'm itching all over in my throat and my ears everywhere. Oh, I was for a good few days sick. Where am I? The infirmary. You've had a relapse of typhus. I feel fine. See a doctor regularly. Can't diagnose it, but something's still wrong. A year later, I found out it was not only typhus, but also diabetes. In this EP camp, I had it so easy. Hurry, Vladik, we can earn some chocolates. Okay, we speak English, okay? Schleck, he couldn't speak even Polish, just Yiddish. We carried many goodies when we finally got our ID papers to go. We want tickets to Hanover, please. Tickets? I don't know where there are even tracks anymore. That freight may be heading north though. So when they were trying to travel back home, I mean, all the railroad tracks were destroyed from the war. I mean, you got to remember, guys, this is World War II. Like Europe was incredibly destroyed. So they're trying to get home. Vlada gets sick again. It just seems like a really bad nightmare, even though they're finally safe. It's like when you have those nightmares and you're running in mud or you're running but you're getting nowhere. That's how I feel like he felt. Like he just wanted to be home. He just wanted to find his child and his wife. And I know it's really interesting though. They don't ever talk about Richie. I wonder if Vladik talked about Richie, but Art didn't put it in. Like I wonder, did Vladik worry about Richie the whole time he was in Auschwitz? I'm assuming he did, but I think it's interesting that it's not in here. The love story and the relationship between Vladik and Anya is just very delicately written in here, but nothing about Richie. Train stopped and started and had to change often directions. Look, Schweck, Nuremberg. I scrubbed streets here as a POW. Now it was only stones and nothing. We came to one place, Wurzburg. What a mess. Where can we find water? Ha! We haven't any water in 3 days. The Americans destroyed everything. Not one building was still standing. We came away happy, though. Let the Germans have a little of what they did to the Jews. We arrived finally in Hanover. The kids can share one bedroom. You two can have the other. Do you know where any of your family is? I'll go to Poland to see if anyone's left. We planned to meet in Sosonic if we got separated. I sent a letter to the Jewish Community Center there for my wife, but she can't still be alive. I saw her in Auschwitz last year. She was so thin and weak, and you might get news about your family at the big DP camp at Belsen. Jews are flooding in over there. It wasn't too far, so I went for a few days to Belsen. One morning, a crowd arrived, two girls, what I knew a little from my hometown. Jenny? Sonia? Look, it's Vladek Spiegelman. We just came from Poland. We were lucky to get out. Whatever you do, do not go back to Sosonic. The Poles are still there and they're killing Jews. Remember the Geblers? They owned the big bakery in Sosonic? One of the sons survived and came back home. What do you want? This is my family house. I'm a Gebler. We thought Hitler finished you off. Finished, right? No murder, no killing. Finished. Go away, Jew. This is our bakery now. Slam. We didn't know what to do. We spent the night in the shed behind his house. The Poles went in and they beat him and they hanged him. For this, he survived. So she's essentially saying he went through concentration camps, this poor man. He comes back to his home and someone has taken it over. They beat him and they hang him. He went through all that hell just to be killed at the end of the war. His brother came from the camps a few days later and only stayed long enough to bury him. Stop it. Don't want to hear any more about this. Just tell me, did you hear anything about Anya? I saw her. She didn't try to get her property back. The Poles leave her alone. Anya is alive? My heart jumped. I couldn't believe. Anya was all alone there in Sosonic. I'm sorry, Anya. No news for you. Each day she checked the Jewish organization and each day she cried. She told me later she went once to a gypsy. Anya knew it was foolish, but she looked only for some hope. I see tragedy. Death? You've lost your father, your mother, everyone. Yes, only Lolak, my nephew, came back. I see a child, a dead child. Richie? My little boy Richie? Isn't it interesting that the gypsy is a fly? I want you to just think about that because we're going to discuss that on Monday. Iconic symbolism. Why does art make the gypsy a fly? And remember, gypsies were like fortune tellers, nomads, not really taken seriously. It's interesting. I want you to think of the characteristics of a fly, and we'll discuss this on Monday. Wait, now I see a man. I see illness. It's your husband. He's been very, very ill, but he's coming. He's coming home. You'll get a sign that he's alive by the time the moon is full. I see a ship, a faraway place. You have a new life and another little boy. Anya went a few days each day over to the Jewish organization, but no sign came to me. So she sat home even more depressed until Anya, guess what? A letter from your husband just came. He's in Germany. He has typhus. It's just like the gypsy said. And here's a picture of him. My God, Vladek, is he really alive? I passed once a photo place, what had a camp uniform, a new and clean one to make a souvenir photos. Anya kept this picture always. I still have it on my desk now. I need that photo in my book. Huh? Where'd you go? Incredible. Look at that photo. How crazy is that? He passed a photo place and they had new concentration camp uniforms, and you could take a souvenir picture of yourself in the uniform. That is crazy to me. Okay. Yeah, so when I heard Anya is still alive, I stopped everything to go back to Sosonic. I traded my things to have gifts. Look, I got some dresses and fur coat to bring to Anya. If you go back to Poland, I'll go too. We went, sometimes by foot, sometimes by train. To Poland, many times it wasn't any tracks left. One place we stopped, hours and hours and hours. Stay here with your luggage, Schleck. I'll go fill up our canteens. I marked our train car, but when I came back an hour later, it was gone to another track. Schleck? I couldn't find any more my friend or my luggage. I had only my thin shirt and my water. Schleck went back to Hanover to find me again, but I went only straight to Poland. It took me 3 or 4 weeks. When I came finally to Sosonic, I have seen very little Jews around, but I find out where the Jewish organization is. This was where my people knew me. Look who's here! Somebody find Anya and bring her right away. And somebody found her. Oh, sorry, Mrs. Fondle. I'm gonna cry. And somebody found her. Vladek. It was such a moment that everyone around was crying together with us. Anya, Anya, my Anya. More I don't need to tell you. We were both very happy and lived happy ever after. So let's stop, please, your tape recorder. I'm tired of talking, Richie, and it's enough stories for now. Spiegelman. Vladek, October 11th, 1906 to August 18th, 1982. And Anya, March 15th, 1912 to August 21st, 1968. So she was 56 when she committed suicide. Mr. Art. It's pretty amazing. So it's kind of interesting at the end when Vladek is talking and telling the story, and he calls Art Richie. There's also a little bit of symbolism there as well, and this idea that Art calls Richie his ghost brother that he could never compete with, that died young, and so the parents could kind of visualize what they thought he was going to be, and he never did anything wrong, and he was the perfect child because their vision of who he was as a teenager and adult was like the perfect person because he never got the chance to be bad or rebel or talk back or become an artist when he should have been a doctor. So that is the story. So go ahead and finish your worksheet and turn it into the bin. On Monday, we'll talk a little bit about the fly symbolism, and then we will do notes over Tennessee Williams and start our final reading. Thank you guys very much. Have a great weekend.